All right, friends, a lot to fill you in on. I don't even know where to start. I'm just going to go stream of consciousness. So get ready for this. First, I hope you have learned that it's always good to be linked in and checked in with that whatever that thing is. Where they say hit the subscription thing, blah blah blah. I'm almost to the end. We had a very interesting meeting. I will never ever go into too much detail about business and other things, but make a long story short, Mrs. Ellen and I are traveling about, and there's a lot of things I want to bring to your attention in this particular way. And the first thing is simply this: we're not buying any of this celebrity all of a sudden dropping dead mysteriously. Gee, I wonder why. Nobody. Okay, let me just say something to you. We may not know what it is. We may not be able to say conclusively, well, it's a reason, but we're not buying this, okay? We are not buying this. The days of us saying, well, we got to be careful. It's over with. It's over. Now, if you notice, I'm not making a diagnosis, but I'm not buying the So there's a lot that's going on there. Do not lose your sense of suspicion. Remember not Enola Gay. Remember what was it when Ebola, Zaire versus Ebola arrested. Remember that? What was that one called? Heartbreak Attack or whatever it is with Dustin Hoffman. Remember they were saying, "Hey, what's going on here? What's going on? What is this? People are dying." Well, I don't know. Don't ask any questions. No, they were called sleuths. They were looking around and trying to find out why, and they were asking what's going on. That was a not a hematophagic. That was a hemorrhagic disease where people were dying. They were bleeding through their nipples, through their eyes. The liquid blood lost all coagulation. It just poured through. It was the most fascinating thing. And that was Ebola Zaire. Ebola Reston was the Reston, Virginia version of it, which turned out to be benign. They didn't know that. But thank God, outbreak. Thank you, Phoebe. Phoebe Long, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up. Phoebe Long. Loved your poetry, man. Thing. By the way, Phoebe Snow, you would have loved her. Funniest woman. Best female joke teller. Let me just rephrase it. Anyway. People say, wait a minute, there's something wrong with this, something weird. I love the way people think. I love the way I love being a medical sleuth. I love to say things. But today they don't want you to do this because, you might say something about a vaccination. Or, we know what's going on. We're not worried about that anymore. I'm not saying it's one thing or another because with everybody who is suspiciously curious as I am, there are other people who immediately jump into this. Well, it's the mRNA. You don't know anything about mRNA or anything like that. You don't know any. Everybody jumps into that. Well, it's the mRNA. Well, it's George Soros. You don't know what it is. But if you have a suspicion, ask. You see, people don't want you to ask. Now, let me also say something too. While I love this aspect of it, let me also throw in something which is very important to note, and that is simply that I'm sick of this Matthew Perry overkill. No pun intended. Let me go on the record and say officially, it's sad. He was a messed up. His disease. I view drug addiction, alcohol addiction as a disease. Some people have it, some people don't. It's not that Matthew Perry was a weak person or a bad person. No, I'm serious. You and I are not drug addicts, not because we're strong people, but maybe because we've never been connected to it. Maybe we've never been around it. Maybe we've never, I don't know what the word is. Maybe we're lucky. But there are people, there are people who know that if you were to involve yourself with certain drugs that are extremely addictive, you will find yourself. All the people in Kensington, PA, and on the streets, they're not weak people. A lot of these people were just normal. We might be smarter in not going in that direction. So I'm not saying this. Also, Matthew Perry had, I'm a mouth person. Mouths. I one time had one of the greatest conversations. I don't know where the hell I was. It was so long ago. It was at some, I don't know where the hell I was. And I'm sitting with somebody saying, "Oh, what do you do?" Blah, blah, blah. It was a woman. She says, "Oh, I'm a speech pathologist." Really? I said, "Yeah." I said, "Let me ask you something." I said, "Can you explain to me tongue thrusting and lisping and mouth things? Can you do? I'm fascinated by the way people talk." And Matthew Perry had a thing with his mouth. I don't know what it was. It just mesmerized. I never knew what he said. I just focused, like, what is he doing? Another mouth thing. Jeff Bridges. I don't know what happened to him. Jeff Bridges, Joe Walsh, Stephen Stills, Paul McCartney. What is this? Mouths, sounds. Sean Hannity, that the way the S's, his appliances or whatever need to be filed. I'm mesmerized by this. Why? And then you meet somebody who's like a Castilian who speaks with a theta, Gonzalez, and you go, wait a minute, hold it. This is okay for you? These people are trying to fight the lisp, and you're incorporating it into your fascinating to me. So Matthew Perry was Perry. Now he was a vaccine pusher because Hollywood was. Now, for everything I say and everything you say, I'm going to say, wait a minute, bring it back. I'm the lead detective. I'm sending you out. Everybody in Hollywood was a vaccine pusher. Everybody. Not everybody's dead. Not everybody dropped dead. Out of the 7 whatever billion people on the planet, more people were vaccinated who are not dead. More people than you could ever imagine took vaccine after vaccine, booster after booster. They're fine. Remember this. Always look at the numbers. They're fine. More people, there are more guns in America than you can imagine. Most people don't shoot. Most people aren't hurt. Most people aren't affected by guns. Most people don't. Guns mean nothing. They don't affect anybody. Now, if you're in the anti-gun lobby, that's it. And if you're in this weird psycho anti-vax, one of these things too, everything is mRNA, myocarditis. Oh my God. Most people don't have this. Most people don't have it. Okay? Most people don't have cancer either. Most people don't have heart attacks, but it's the number one leading cause of death. It's called numbers. Do you understand how numbers work? Do you understand how numbers work? This is the thing that's interesting. People are conclusory. They don't know anything about the cause of death of Matthew Perry. None. They don't know. They're not there. Oh, I know what it was. No, he had a heart attack because he took a vaccine. No, you don't know that. Well, I know. No, you don't. Well, in my circles, that's what my friends like. We talk like that. Well, I don't talk like that. That's specious. This is cause and effect. But that doesn't mean throw out the suspicions you have. I've been through this. Do 9/11. Well, obviously, Dick Cheney did this. What are you talking about? Well, the buildings didn't come down. How did you go from the buildings didn't come down by jet fuel to Dick Cheney did it? Well, I don't know. Because people don't know logic. They don't know this equals this equals this. They couldn't write a Columbo series. They couldn't write a mystery novel. They would be making connections. People would, if the people who listen to this stuff today, I don't want to call it anti-vaxxer, but let's just use this as as a shorthand term. They could never write an episode of Columbo because people would say, "How did you get from this guy to this guy?" I don't know. But you have to write the script. I don't know. I don't have to come up with anything. I just say this is it. This is it. You know. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. There are people who say, I don't have to worry about any kind of a logical connection to anything. All I'm doing is I'm just saying to you that I think that everybody's dead because of there is I'm not going to mention his name, but there's a wonderful Substack, and I know him. He's very good. But he has a list of all these people, all these famous people who are either gotta cancel their tours, drop dead, this one had a stroke, this one died, and he's just pointing them out. And you think, wow, look at that. Okay. What does that mean? I don't know. Well, he knows what he means. He's telling you, and the reason why people follow his Substack is they believe two things. One, they believe that all vaccines will kill you, especially the recent round. And number two, that if you were a part of the Hollywood, like, hey, I took my vaccine and you die, ha ha ha, joke's on you. This is the way people think. This is the way people think. It's incredible. It's like the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. But there's something to this. Raphael says, Howard Robard Hughes Jr. My question to you is this. He had a bigger addiction than him. A woman came, abandoned his career, and helped him. Why nobody is no longer helping and they just letting them die? That is so interesting. I don't know what this means. My question to you is this. He had a bigger addiction than him. A woman came, abandoned his career, and helped him. Howard Robard Hughes Jr. That's a very interesting. These are here we go. Howard Robard Hughes. Yeah, Junior. A woman can, yeah. I don't know what that means. You got me going on this one. I'm going to be trying to decipher this all day, but thank you. I don't know what that means. Look at this. Hot tub, vaccine, long-term effects of drug and booze. His guts were messed up. What? Where'd you get this from? I don't know. It just, he had a vaccine. What if it was peritonitis? Who do you know? What if it was a stroke? What if it was TIA? What if it was non-related? I don't know. I just think he was in a hot tub, and I just think hot tub and vaccines, go together. Why? Because I'm an instant doctor. I just make this shit up. I don't know. He was in a hot tub. Hello? Somebody said, who was it? One of the ones said, I'm not sure if warm water. Warm water? What are you talking about? We don't know. Do you know how many times when you do an actual pathology report, you look and you see a cause of the causes of death? There's the sources of death, if you will, not faces of death. Remember that? Were you around when you were a kid when Faces of Death was like, this is a great, did you see Faces of Death? It's the best video there ever was. NASH, NASH, that's an acronym, an actual acronym, NASH. Natural, accidental, suicide, homicide, and unexplained, which is kind of like, so to speak. Natural death. Was it accidental? No. Well, think about it. He drowned in a hot tub? He drowned? No, he didn't drown. He passed out. It was syncope. It was unconsciousness. You don't drown. You don't. No. When we normally think of drowning, asphyxiation, we think of somebody who's drowning. By the way, you can just easily tell the water in the lungs and that sort of thing. But it's not like you're drowning in the water in the ocean. That's a different story. In this particular case, when you drown, you slide. Maybe you have a response. Maybe it could have been a lot of things. It might have been cardiac arrest by virtue of the drugs. Who knows? Who knows? But he has not had I would imagine to say, a boost or anything for what year? Whenever the last one was. Not to mention, there are millions of people exercising, healthy, who had every vax. The numbers don't work. The numbers don't work. You should see the result. If you tried to get aspirin approved today, there's no way. The number of aspirin deaths. Have you read the contraindications or indications of birth control pills? Dear God, who the hell wants to take this? Anytime you try to affect something negatively, it bounces back. Did I watch the movie Howard Hughes, film producer? I saw that Leonardo DiCaprio thing, which was kind of interesting. He was mentally ill and had some serious problems with his own psychiatric issues in the line. Could have been homicide. Okay, let's talk about this. Let me ask you something. Homicide. What are we looking for homicide? How would you say homicide? What do you look at? Take the body. First of all, you look at him. Number one, got to be a very good. You got to take you got to take absolute pictures of everything. You've got to go in their crime scene, and you got to make sure when they say no signs of drugs. You know what I say? Bullshit. That's the first thing. Who was there? You know who his father-in-law was? Morrison. Ooh, hey. Keith Morrison. That's his stepfather. Think he knows a little bit about? Think somebody can pick up, the phone and say, "Call our buddy at the homicide." I'm just saying. Call the guy from the homicide. Tell him to come over here. Yeah, tell him. Yeah, tell him it's our friend. Go through here. Anything? If you had bottles that were open, if you had whatever it is, they're going to do a tox screen. They're going to check, obviously, stomach contents. Perhaps. There's also something where you have to ask people to say, in essence, what do you think of this initially? Where are you going with this initially? Does this look, not everybody gets an autopsy. A lot of times a doctor looks and says, yeah, this is consistent with, it happens. Heart attacks are not that rare. They're not that beyond whatever the realm of possibility. Okay, it's possible. But they're going to look at all the information, all the stuff, take pictures of everything. Then you're going to carefully take them out and visually inspect everything. Did you know that one of the things they did when John Belushi died was they were squeezing arms, and all of a sudden they squoze his arm and a little drop of blood comes out. There was a little tiny injection portal that they would have never noticed had they not done this. There's different things. You look for a lot of stuff, petechial hemorrhaging to see if there's any kind of asphyxiation. You look at a lot of stuff. You look at, you can tell how long he was there, how long he was dead. Algor mortis, livor mortis, lividity, probably from what we hear was very, very quick. Well, he was found or he was not left for a long time. But if you didn't know, the temperature of the body, the lividity, rigor mortis, how long it's set in, starts here with the jaws, it becomes stiff and then loose again. There's all kinds of stuff. Stomach contents, obviously blood, look at blood, and check with the family doctor. Do we know anything about his prior history? No. Is he any congenital instances? No. He's 54, far too young for most. Were there other cardiac or other problems that we know nothing about? We have no idea. But if you sit there and you say vaccine, you're making data up because, let me say this again, the vast vast majority of people. And by the way, let me also tell you something, lest you get confused. What will maintain, what will be ultimately, what will be the basis or bases of data next time will be most probably a lot of the data that people found now. Meaning that the information that is available, now in terms of testing for future boosters and vaccines and the like, will be this new data of millions of people who have taken this, every conceivable form there is, every booster there is, not to mention excluding comorbidity, which is something people don't understand, correlation and cause. Think about this. When somebody is dead because of a, quote, vaccine, oftentimes it's not the vaccine. It was the underlying materials, the underlying problems, the additional subsequent corollary issues, morbidity, obesity, pulmonary problems, asthma, diabetes, age. Age is a disease. So that's it. So remember something. If your focus, if you were in my investigative team and you immediately went to either suicide or vaccines, or you started off with a predetermined predilection, a predisposed penchant for a particular thing, you'd be off my team in a minute. You've got to completely erase from your mind anything that you're looking for. You can have suspicions, you can put it aside, but what happens is that throws you off. And you're missing the point. That being said, do you know most people, all of you would say, cigarettes cause cancer, right? You would say that. Do most people who smoke get cancer? Nope. Do most people who smoke have COPD? Nope. You know how many people smoke? Excuse me. Millions all over the world. Millions of people. Millions and millions. You got more data than you can, and you've got cigarettes in other parts of the country, the world, that have, oh my God, I don't even know what the hell they're smoking. You've got more data. Most people don't get cancer. But you know it's bad. You know it will kill you. You know it leads. You know it is a cofactor in a lot of other things, right? Absolutely. You know what kills people tremendously? Let me ask you this. Listen to me carefully. Look at the older population, all right? I want you to look at the older population. What's the thing you notice about older populations? Tell me. Tell me the one thing you notice about older populations. Tell me what they look like. People who live a long time, what do they look like? Uh-oh, they're backing up. What is it? What do you think? What do you think? What do you notice of old people? Let me answer for you. Sinrev, not fat. Not fat. Never, you never, ever, ever see somebody who's not fat. You don't see smokers. Very rarely. Smokers are it. Drinkers, not really either. Also, family. What I find so interesting, this is the other one part. This is the part that kills me. In this hotel room, it was a very nice lady, very nice young lady. She is absolutely, without a doubt, I'd say 100 pounds overweight. 100 pounds. Easy. And she's short, too. She's big. Double masked. Double. 2. But 100 pounds overweight. And I mean 100. I mean, she is really. Now, how do you explain that to me? How do you explain that? It's this focus, like your focus. Your focus. You are hell-bent on going after vaccines. And there's something there, but you're not excluding it. And you're not going to be taken seriously by anybody because you're going to say, oh, here she comes. Oh, she's just on the vaccine again. Oh. Just like other people who are the opposite, who will take anything. One time I listed, I forget where the hell I was. I saw online or something. It was a list of vaccines for your dog. Rabies, distemper, was it parvovirus? Or that's a cat. What was it? Feline infectious peritonitis, feline, all this stuff. So I had a list and I said, well, I'm getting the rabies vaccine. What? I said, oh, rabies. I said, you know how many people get hit by rabies? Really? I said, well, deer ticks. I don't know what the hell deer ticks had to do with anything that I said. Well, deer ticks. Deer ticks. Oh, yeah, I guess so. Because people don't know what they're talking about. But I can lead them. I can lead them because they want to think that. They want to think that. It's just like when people who believe in religion, prayer helps. No, it doesn't. Yes, it does. Can't prove it. Well, just because you can't prove it doesn't mean prayer. Okay. How about prayer to kill people? No, that doesn't work. Why not? Well, it just doesn't. Where'd you get this prayer stuff from? Well, I don't know. It's energy. Energy? What the hell are you talking about? Well, the same thing with my vaccine stuff. I just kind of have this layman's idea, but that doesn't mean that prayer doesn't work. It doesn't mean that there's no such thing as energy or enemies. It doesn't mean any of that. You see what I'm doing? Do you see what I'm trying to show you? There's a balance. Just because I've never, ever, ever had anybody explain to me astrology. Never. Your feces rising and you're born on January 3rd. This guy's born on January 4th. And they ask you, well, where were you born? What difference does it make? Where was I born? Okay, here's the sun. Here you are. What difference does it make? This distance from Cleveland versus Fort Lauderdale. What the hell is it? But people want to believe in zoology, in astrology. They want to believe in it. They want to. It means something to them. They have this idea that but I'm not saying there is no connection. And the reason why I'm saying there is no connection is because so many people believe it. There's got to be something to it. You can't bullshit people this long for this many generations and centuries if there's nothing to it. That may not be the best reason. I don't rule it out. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm not straddling the fence. I don't have an opinion yet. I just take in the data. I take in the data. Now, you want to know what I want to know? Here's one question you're not thinking about. And I know, but this is the one I want to. Okay? Excuse me, my cold. Please, no more oil tincture, tincture of opium. That helps. Now, you want to know what I think? This is what I think. First, I want everybody who's ever been jabbed, poked, whatever it is, forever to be in a big database, metadata. And I'm going to be able to pull. You know how metadata works? Metadata is you throw in the data and then you pull from it what you want. How many people who took the vaccine are named Jerry? Okay. Now, we didn't start off with that, but since I put the names of all the people, I can see. You know, it's funny. 90% of the people who took the vaccine are named Jerry. I didn't know that. I didn't either. I'll be damned. Who are more prone to take this? Black people or white people? Let me look at the data. Wow, look at this. There's a disproportionate number of white people as per population than black people. Does that mean white people are more gullible? No, that's what you're reading into it, but it's an interesting thing. What about gay folks? Oh, interesting. Wow. More people took I'm just saying, more people, there's a higher proportion of gay. Well, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. Are they more punctilious? Are they more susceptible? Are they more prone? I don't know. I don't know what it means. All I know is this is what we've seen. Do you see what's going on? Do you see how this works? You see how it works? We don't know that. You look at this data, but you know what I want to know? Here's what I want to know. Number one, the percentage, the number of people who took it who were of childbearing age, who were not, or who had never been pregnant, or who never tried, or who never. I want to see reproductive rates. Either, specifically what I want to know is, I want to eliminate from your consideration a concern that you have, and that you have mentioned many, many times, which is not at all beyond the realm of possibility, at all. But it requires further review. The effect on fertility and reproduction. If somebody said, it's funny, remember in 2020, when did COVID hit? What was it, 2020 or something? I don't even remember. Seems like it was forever, but what's funny? We just did a report on this. This is interesting. Let's say the average number of, quote, infertility problem. Male, bad sperm, bad motility, bad protease capsid, blah, blah, blah. Something with the actual flagella, something involving the actual spermatozoa, somatic, whatever it is. Okay, you got that. We also have something which is very interesting as well. And we're seeing something which is very interesting. What we are seeing is that the number of female-related cases affecting fertility, which could be absolutely, my God, it could be to anything. Something involving menses, menarche, the onset of because don't forget children too, the onset of periods, fertility problems, a decline. Now, here's this data. What if I go to you and say, listen to this? Of this particular group of people, we found out that, let's call this sample X. All right. I don't know how you construe this, but let's assume you have sample X. And of that sample, normally we expect infertility or non-fecundity, as they say, to be, let's say, I don't know, 20%. Let's just give a number. I have no idea what it would be. But in this particular group, it's 40%. It's double that. Why do you think that is? They are either not having children, can have children, foregoing children, or whatever it is, some combination. What do you think that is? Now, immediately, you're going to say, aha, vaccine. I say, no, of course not. Let's look into this. Why is that? We need epidemiologists. We need, by the way, I got my Lynn's Warriors hoodie on today. You look elsewhere. Find out why. Don't jump to it. Jump. What's the usual group of people? 20%, 30%. Well, what else is there? I don't know. Could be other reasons. Do you hear what's going on here? Now, need to think about the drastic increase in all-cause mortality. Why? No! Life expectancy is going through the roof. What data are you looking at? What are you looking at? Life expectancy is going through the roof. I'm so sorry. There's no mortality. It's great. It's wonderful. People are doing terrific. People are healthier now than they've ever been. Oh, okay. Well, maybe that didn't work. See? Could be a number of reasons. Absolutely. Multi-causality. I like when somebody say died suddenly. Everybody dies suddenly. Everybody dies suddenly. Think about it. All death is sudden. I don't care if you're 100 years old. It's sudden. Oh, there he goes. What happened? I don't know. It was just here. My favorite is organ failure. That's my favorite. That could be everything. Remember the old joke, why'd he die? His heart stopped. We are an obligate aerobe, as the great Sherwin Newland, Victoria's father, said. Nobody's ever thought about this. Nobody's ever thought about this. You understand this? Why do you think that is? Died suddenly. Look at this. I have a recessive ABCC11 gene, which means I have no body odor and dry, flaky earwax. It also means I have a multi-drug resistance protein. I'm a mutant. Oh, I like this. Flaky earwax. That's cerumen. I have no body odor. That's apocrine and ecrine, the glandular system. I love certain. I have detached lobes. See this? But most people's their ears are connected. Mine are completely detached. What does that mean? I don't know. Everybody's heart stops when they die. No, everybody's brain stops when they die. Let me ask you something. When is death death? When is death? When your heart stops? When your brain stops? Cellular death? What is death? Answer it. What is that question? What is the last thing to go off when you die? What is it? Again, with all due respect, I disagree. I have had numerous friends pass away in their 60s recently. Scary stuff. Disagree about what? I have had numerous friends pass away in their 60s. This is Silver Fox. Again, what does that mean? Well, they died. Died of what? I don't know. They died. Car accidents? Accidental? Natural? What? Well, they just died. Died of what? Now, I hate to say it, but do you know where you are going to be? Do you know where you're going? How it affects? Let me go this. Let's go to, look at this. Blood flow stops. Yes. Decomposition and putrescence commences. Yes. Brain activity. If I shoot you in the head in your brain, you die. Your heart stops. Why? Your heart's fine. It's not it's fine. Think about this. Well, blood flow stops. Why does blood flow have anything to do with this? This is your heart. I know it sounds silly. People say, well, that's a good question. Well, why? I mean, you have to go into, the autonomic nervous system and that sort of thing, too. You do realize that most people have no idea about anything involving the body. Nothing. They've never thought about any of this. Let me go to you. Let's go to 100 and... I remember one time, I don't know why. Let's go to... There's a part of Harlem I was driving recently. And I was just on the corner. And I'm looking around. And I'm seeing, oh my God, obesity among this Black community. It was horrible. To me, it's almost a genocide. Almost a genocide. Now, in that particular case, do you think that death is going to be a higher incident? Oh yeah, absolutely. What would I say? Hypertension. Kidney failure, nephritis, you name it. Hypertension, blindness, also diabetes. Oh, diabetes is a mother. It's a mother. It does so many terrible things. That's in that population. The number of people who die from hypertension, the number of people who die from obesity, the number of people who die from, and we're not talking about necessarily other aspects as well, but just that in that population is, oh my God, it's incredible. Now, here's the question I have for you, and this is important. Let's put our thinking caps on, okay? Okay. Now let me stop for 1 second. I should have done this. Number one, I hope you are subscribed to me. You are, right? I hope you are subscribed. Number two, this is critical. I hope that you pay attention and that you are connected with everything. And I appreciate it. And I also want to tell you something. Last night, where we're walking back from this particular event, and 11 o'clock, boom, I thought, wow, they turned the lights off. I said, what a sleepy little town. When the sun goes down, and well, it was a power shortage. So in the hotel, people are almost in the doors of, is there no power? I'm thinking, it's going to come back on again. That's why you need generators. That's why I mentioned Lion Energy. But it makes me think we still don't understand what's happening regarding the world of trauma. So in the meantime, I want you to think about this. This is my favorite. This is our sponsor. One of them, by the way. This is our friends from My Patriot Supply, and why you've got to think about emergency food. The smartest thing that you can do right now is to pay attention and listen to what I'm telling you right now. In the event of disaster, in the event of something calamitous, there are three things that are critical to survival: food, water, and energy. I'm here to talk about the food part. And that's preparewithlionel.com. My Patriot Supply is simply the premier food storage, emergency food storage company in the world. And they have right now a deal for you that I want you to pay attention to and avail yourself of. It's $200 off a 3-month emergency food supply kit. Now, this is what everybody should have initially, but this will get you going. This is an introductory. We're talking a 25-year shelf life, 21 varieties of the most delicious foods and drinks and snacks you can imagine. We're talking 120 pounds of food in resealable pouches with oxygen absorbers, 120 pounds of food in 6 water-resistant buckets that are modular and stacked perfectly. They're simply the smartest things you can do, the wisest thing you can do, because I'm telling you, when there's calamity, when there's shutdown, when there's martial law or tsunamis or weather or strikes or riots or whatever, stores close down. And when stores close down, food is unavailable. And when food is unavailable, people are going to go nuts. You know it, and I know it. Preparewithlionel.com. Don't think, don't review this, don't give this a lot of thought. Just do this. Go to preparewithlionel.com and take advantage of this, I should say, this incredible deal that's not going to last for a long time. Preparewithlionel.com. It's that serious. You know, I am fascinated, again, by how many people don't really think about death. Let me ask you something. How do you think you're going to die? Since you're experts on this, obviously, how do you think you're going to die? You're going to die of a heart attack. I'll put my money on it right now. You're going to die of a cardiac event, without a doubt. And I didn't say what age. I didn't say you're going to die tomorrow. I'm going to say you're going to die of a heart attack. Because actuarially, that's the bottom line. In terms of some type of coronary problem in the matter. Silver Fox says, I was responding to the longer lifespan these days. In my circle, the lifespan seems to be shrinking. Being 65 like you, it's a bit concerning. Not really. But I thank you for that. Not really. I don't, you know, you can think about this. The thing, Silver Fox, that I guarantee you people are doing right now, right this moment, is to go and look at different people. If you're interested in how do I say this? Living longer. There are some parts of the world where there is no breast cancer. Do you hear what I'm saying? It doesn't exist. There are parts where there is no coronary incidents. They're part of rural Asia and the like. It is the number one thing you can do: diet. Lay off of animal products. Number one, easiest thing. All of a sudden, what that means is more than anything you've ever seen. But people will say, no, 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 I'm not going to live my life without bacon. It's good for you. Man, we're carnivores. And my grandfather was 100 and he had a bacon and eggs every morning. And they pointed these things and fine, it's up to you. That's number one. That's number one. Number one. Diet is more important than exercise. Diet is the number one thing. Also, know how to read studies. Here's one for you. The Mediterranean diet. Biggest bunch of horse shit anybody's ever heard of. The Mediterranean diet. What does that mean? First, nobody's read the Mediterranean diet. They don't even know what the Mediterranean diet is. Wine and olive oil. Olive oil. Yeah. Olive, because they're thinking Mediterranean, they're thinking Chianti, mandolins, gondolas, or gorgonzola. A little wine. What are you saying? I don't know. I'm just making this up. Did you read the Mediterranean diet? No, I have no idea. But I'm thinking the word Mediterranean. There's 22 countries that surround the border of the Mediterranean. Which one was this? I don't know. Who was it? Ansel Keys. Remember the K ration? It was Ansel Keys. What country was he looking at? Crete, 1953. What was that? What was that population? After World War II. After these groups called the Germans basically came in there and shut them off from everything. There was no livestock. There was nothing but vegetables and roots and this. And they were great. And they had to walk. Look at Crete today. Doesn't apply anymore. Nobody wants to hear that. They have this idea that, well, I'm drinking wine. How do we know that? Well, people who have one glass of wine a day are significantly healthier than what? Than people who drink a bottle? Maybe, yeah. Oh, so drinking a glass of wine a day helps? Well, yes. Is that what you took that as? Yes, you took that data as that, right? Right. Let's look at the studies of people who drink no wine or drink any. Do you have any data on that? Yeah. Look at Muslim countries. No booze. Interesting. How you took that and you said, oh, so having a glass of wine is beneficial, as opposed to anybody who limits himself to just a glass of wine a day must be, and this is important, must be, it must be the wine, as opposed to anybody who shows that kind of rigor in terms of lifestyle may be able to show that elsewhere with other things like alcohol or walking or exercise or diet and the like. People come up with these ideas. In 1958, post-Japan, they looked at the number of, I think it was Colin Campbell did this in the China study, I think it was 1958. They looked at the number of prostate cancer cases. There was like 18 out of the entire, today it's with a Western diet. Nobody cares about vaccines. Because they don't care about their life. They don't care about dying. They don't care about living anything. They get on this because it's a political thing. It's easy. It's fun. You hate those people. You hate Bill Gates. You hate Fauci. You hate Pfizer. It's, that's easy. But you don't do it because you care about your health. Because if you cared about your health, you'd worry about it. They go, nah, I don't care about that. People are walking around, they're fat, they got tattoos. This is so terrible. Recently, I went to a wedding. Oh my God. You look at these maids of honor and oh my God, they're in their 20s and they look like the fearsome foursome, like Bronco Nagurski. And what is this? Oh, walking around just obese. It's everywhere. Kids, people. process. They don't give me this, but you know what? But to wear a mask. They're the opposite. They show this incredible predisposition for being afraid of contracting this. But yet, other things which are really problematic, especially childbearing age. What are you doing? We're weird about this. We we see things our own way. We have no idea about. I don't know what it is. We get on something. We get on some kind of a focus. Can you imagine what would the world be without? And this is funny. Bobby Kennedy did some interesting thing. What about if the world did not have a polio vaccine? And polio, we'll never get to the bottom of the polio vaccine. Oh, that's a fascinating story. And AIDS and where that came from, you will never. No. They're not opening up that can of worms. There were certain things that are verboten. I want to know, where did AIDS come from? Where did this? It wasn't patient zero. Remember that line about this poor guy that and I said poor guy, this Swedish or Norwegian or something, this flight attendant. Remember him, patient zero? Bullshit. Absolute, unadulterated, bovine egesta. Absolute nonsense. But that's a better story than, wait a minute, where did the blood come from? From oh, no, tell me, where did you? And then there was the African green monkey, and they were, it had this little bit of retrovirus, and when they would butcher the monkey, yeah, that's a good story. Well, what about the other, the vaccine and polio? Well, yeah, but let's talk about that. No, I'd rather we not. Let's go with the monkey story. That's interesting, We'll never get to the bottom of that. We won't even get to the bottom of 9/11 because people don't want to hear these answers. And you're not going to hear anybody in the most corrupt organization in the world, the American Medical, not the association, but the American Medical Group. These people are so afraid they're not going to lose their license. They've learned, you keep your mouth shut, buddy. Don't even hint as to what you think may be the causative reasons and bases for stuff. Don't do this. Look, this is complicated, and you have got to make sure you maintain an ability to really focus, learn, be an autodidact, spend time learning nomenclature, learn the rudiments of how this works and how this is the most important thing in the world. This is the most important thing in the world. You have got to learn how things work and use and think conclusively. Don't just say, like somebody said, hot tub, drugs, vaccine, killed him. No, that's not the way. It could be true, but that's you don't want to diagnose death on what could happen. So anyway, it's nice to get away from Israel. By the way, speaking of which, the more we learn about this, are any of you, my dear friends, having any serious questions about how much Israel may have known about that attack on October the 7th? Anybody, yes or no? Anybody here have any very serious questions about, I'm not so sure, you didn't know about the paragliders? How many people? How many? Anybody? Anybody have any sense of, well, I don't know about that? Because think about it. This was one of the worst. This was one of the most fascinating reconfigurations of outcome, because the outpouring of pro-Israel sentiment was incredible at first, and then it was gone. Mrs. Hayes says, dang, I'm late again. Mrs. Hayes, you got to make sure that you are always lined up, always hit that little bell so you're notified of new things, okay? I think it was a false flag. Iron Dome, question mark? Why do you think it's a false flag? I want to know more. Nobody's going there. Iron Dome works. Iron Dome is very, very, they say this new laser thing is whatever. I don't have reason to believe that it's a false flag. I need more information, though. I am not accepting the fact that, well, it was a mistake. What are you going to do? Not when you have the most heavily and the most highly vaunted group, okay, that has ever existed. You understand this? Think about that one. And one of the most interesting analogies and analogs I've learned from the whole H1N1 and everything else is a notion of gain of function. The idea of it there being this thing which is artificially enhanced and encouraged and modified and pulverized by virtue of of this new kind of like supercharging it. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. That's what I say. That's what I say. In any event. All right, dear friends. Was this fun or what? Who's had fun today? I've had so much fun. Being here with you. You're crazy. You are nuts, and I wouldn't change you for the world. Don't ever, 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 ever change. I want you to be suspicious and call everybody out. And you can say any damn thing you want anytime, and you can disbelieve anything you want. It's up to you. Okay? You got it? Okay, good. This was fun. This was great. All right, dear friends, we'll see you later. I don't know when. Because we're, still doing this thing, but I had some time now and I wanted to jump on board. So make sure you always subscribe and make sure you also hit that little bell so you're notified of stuff. Anyway, we love you. Have a great and a glorious and a safe day. Think of your health. I don't want to see anything bad happen to you. Treat yourself like the most important person in the world because you are. And until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dead.